What is happening, everybody? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and welcome on back to Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. So, in between episodes, we did do another good old respec. I completely changed my build here. I changed all my stats, all my gear, so let's quickly jump into what I have. So, for the first slot, we went back to dual daggers. I did mention in a different episode that if I did respec, it would probably be to go back into dual wield, and that's exactly what I did. So up first we have the hand knife. Hitting a target has a 50% chance to restore 5 stamina, and in the main hand we have swift dagger, deals 25% increased melee damage after dashing. And I did notice one thing. So you do have your dash, which is, that's your dash, right? And then the dash attack would be that. What I did notice is if you're sprinting, you do the dash attack, but it doesn't take a dash. I assume this also benefits from the 25%, but even if it doesn't, in the midst of combat, we dash out, we're doing 25% increased damage. For the gear changes, we do now have Fledgling Mask. This increases our critical damage by 33% and attack speed by 33%. Just really huge bonuses, which the attack speed and crit damage is going to come important later when you look at the rest of our build. We did keep the Dual Knight Gloves for the increased 20% melee damage, and critical hits restore 10 stamina, which is going to come into effect too. We have the Fledgling's Garb. Physical attacks regenerate 10% of damage dealt as stamina. Then we have the Fledgling Breeches, increases crit chance by another 15. And then we have the Fledgling Boots, which further increases that crit chance by another 10. We're using the Perilous Orb +2, increases crit chance by another 7. Then we have the Finger Necklace, another 5% crit chance. And then we are using the Dual Knight Cape still, which is crit chance by 10 and stamina regeneration by 25%. We're also using the bow in our offhand slot. I mean, if we have everything else done in dex and sneak, we may as well take advantage of that too, right? Which takes us into our attributes. So we got 6 strength, that was just to equip the dual knight stuff. 10 endurance, obviously we just need the max health, encumbrance limit, stamina regen, that's all good. 10 dexterity for our attack speed and our range damage. And then we have 6 in perception, which is just crit chance, sneak damage, and crit damage. And then we did some practicality. The reason why we did that is for the Fledgling gear, which is for the Agents of Morrigan questline that we pick up in the Horns of the South. I did show you guys the start of that quest. Well, when you come to Cuanacht and continue that questline, you'll get access to their Fledgling gear. So, in our skill trees, this is where most of the changes occurred. Inside health, we got Godly Physique again, all the way up to 25%. Inside one-handed, we got the attacks with one-handed weapons are 20% stronger. Both daggers are considered one-handed weapons, so that's the 20% buff there. Heavy attacks while wielding 2 weapons cost 20% less stamina, and fighting with 2 weapons of the same type increases attack speed by 20%. So again, 20% attack speed buff since we're using dual daggers. For endurance, we didn't pick anything up in here yet. Dexterity, this is where we spec into our movement tree. So we got dashes cost 20% less stamina. We got dashes regenerate 20% faster, and we got the 1 extra long dash. Just in case that damage bonus after dashing doesn't count for the sprint, I wanted more dodges in combat, and eventually I will get them so they come back even faster. We also have this that I'm a little interested in. Sliding slows down time for 2 seconds. Maybe if you slid into combat, you could get a nice opener there, but I haven't messed with it yet, so I'm not sure. Nothing in spirituality, of course. In perception, we went into critical hits for the extra 2%. We got every consecutive hit increases the chance of a critical hit by 2% up to 20%. And then we got critical hits of a 20% chance to fully restore your stamina, which is going to play off nicely when I show you more in detail our statistics on our character page. So in daggers, I got backstabs with daggers have a 33% increased chance to be critical. Something to note about backstabs is specifically only sneak attacks. It's not just circling around and stabbing them in the back. A backstab is when you sneak crit somebody from behind, so we won't be using this. But we did need to take this to get down into the rest of the tree, which is Serpent Swiftness. Increases your attack speed by another 7% when you have a dagger equipped. And then increase your critical damage by 30% when you have a dagger equipped. And that will be it for perception. And in practicality, of course, we got the increased armor value. We got the endurance training once again. And then we went down in here, which is endurance increases your melee damage by 1% per point. Even though it's daggers and they're dex-based, they are considered melee damage. And if we're not going to be up in strength for the melee damage, then we need to get it from our endurance. So that's in the armor tree. In statuses, I put if an enemy has an active status on them, they take 10% more damage. The reason I took this is because our ring, every hit applies bleed. So enemies always have a status effect. So we'll just keep leveling this all the way on up. And then inside crafting and trading, we took this all the way up. Just selling items is 50% more profitable. We were struggling with some money over the series because of how many times I've respec'd and upgraded this or that. So I decided to address that and take care of that. So we go back into our statuses here. This is where things get pretty interesting. So when you look at our melee damage, we're at 161%. Range damage, not so much. Where things get juicy here is the attack speed. So our attack speed is all the way up at 218%, which is crazy. Also 413% opening shot damage on that first archery cast if we decide to enter like that. The crit chance here is 55%, and keep in mind that we're swinging 2 weapons. So the odds are that in one weapon cycle of 2 attacks, we're going to crit with one of them at 55%. And then that's going to lead us into the 259% crit damage, which then recycles our stamina and goes through the whole thing. Keep in mind again that this melee damage is getting actively buffed every time the enemy has bleed. We're doing 10% more, soon to be 20%. And we have all those buffs inside our gear too for melee damage, etc. that I don't think shows up here. So let's test that theory. Right now our melee damage is 161 and our crit chance is 55. So if we come on over here, let's do your 10% crit chance. So if it counts, this would be 45 now. Okay, they do apply. My mistake, I misspoke. So that's our build so far. We have a couple quests to get done now that we've taken care of our introductions. I want to do this quest since we already started last episode. And then I hopefully want to head on into Cuanacht at some point right here so then I can start exploring this open world. I didn't do any quests, so to speak of. I did explore a little bit as we went around. The only quest that I did take care of was the one for the fledgling garbs. There's a guy right here you talk to. Bring that back on down to Morgan's Hollow, and then they give you your quest and your gear. So, for anybody that wants to follow along with the gear build, I've shown how to get everything that I'm using throughout the series. So, and now we get to test it out. I only really used it in Act 1, and the difficulty does spike up here in Act 2, so we'll find out real fast if this new build is going to keep up or not. It looks like there's going to be enemies inside for me to test that theory. But before we mess with them, let's take a read of this. So, the Royal Geographer's note. There is nothing that delights the crowd more than a skillfully performed spectacle, whether musical or theatrical. This is well known by the spectators at the tournaments of Warriors Fair and the subjects of the House of Arthurian, which has proudly overseen the region of Cuanacht for many years. This region, celebrated for its fertile fields and rich mineral deposits, is esteemed throughout Avalon. It is no surprise, then, that Lord Diarmuid Taurian decided to gift his subjects with a magnificent amphitheater. This venue attracts artists from all over the island. Experts say that the acoustics here are unmatched by any other stage in Avalon. Traveler, remember, if you have the chance to see a performance in this amphitheater, be sure to take it. The Royal Geographers. So we'll take our bow out now.
Someone's out there.
That shot off before we have to fight this guy. Dash in to apply the bleed.
You're in for a world of hurt.
Now we just start going to town with the crits.
Supposed to hurt?
It's about to. Look at all the stacks of bleed we have on them. That'll be the end of that. Yeah, the damage is very hefty. And I want to point out too that these daggers, they're not upgraded. Okay, these are just vanilla as they came daggers. No +1, no nothing. They're just as they are, and the dash attack just annihilates them out of existence. Just like that. Nivera The Chillheart's head. I'll go ahead and take all your stuff. Oh, we hit nightfall in between. Well, that might be a problem. Enemies get chunky during the night. And I'm not seeing where... That's where you are, you fell off. This guy sucks. Don't fight that guy. He's chunky. I've had one encounter with him, and he lit my ass up like a Christmas tree, as you can see. So we're gonna get the hell out of here. Because I am not dealing with that right now. He is too chunky for me to worry about fighting. He's very hefty. So let us slide on down. Red caps I'm not so afraid of. What the hell that is? Oh, I guess that's the SFX update. There was a big update for this game today, actually. The devs are doing really good taking care of this game. So I think it's a 1.6 gigabyte update addressing a whole gang of issues. And it said that they updated the VFX on some stuff, and that's right there. The last time we played this game, those effects were like, I think it was like a very dull gray, you could barely see it, and now you can see it full on. Let's get inside the old shelter. Investigate these bandits that are supposedly giving him hell back at the dig site. Mainly just to escape from that big dude with the crushing hammer, because I've tried to fight him twice during the nighttime cycle, and both times I was immediately one-shotted the first time he hit me. In fact, that time is the only time that he hasn't just outright one-shot us, so needless to say, I'm not thrilled about fighting him. Pretty good damage. Not when you compare it with that, though. We're detected, so I'm assuming his friends are going to be coming to get some. What is that? I guess he detects me from above. Anyways, now we can start methodically clearing this place. We can get like a good headshot. Very good. Here we have all this dexterity, right? So why not use the bow here and there?
Strength of 100 men!
Oh. Blocking won't help you that much, my guy.
This is my lucky day.
I beg to differ. That's a big bonk stick.
This is going to hurt.
I'm gonna sell your bonk stick when I get back to town. Fire, compo, take all your gear. And all the armor and trash loot we pick up is actually worth picking up now too, thanks to our upgrades that we've got in certain skill trees. Oh, you look like you suck. You look like you suck so much that I'm gonna slow time and chop you down. With many crits and many bleed. So one thing I'm noticing immediately in here, which is interesting, is even though we're inside somewhere, the enemies are still giving us the nighttime bonuses, and we're still finding like ethereal cobweb and things like that. You're only supposed to find those when you explore the outside world, I thought. But it seems like mine rock. That's the first one like that I've run into. Little hidden entrance behind a rock you had to mine. Or at least it's the first one I know of. I could have missed a bunch of hidden entrances not knowing about that mechanic. Fireball, recoil, sharpening. Okay, well I learned a new mechanic in Tainted Grail. Keep your eye out for rocks that are mineable. I think this will probably just take us back to that main door. I guess that's why I could hear people swinging. Yeah, they were up here when I aggroed everything when I first came in. Guessing that's why. Take the bow out and do something a little Skyrim style. Sneak is working pretty good. Damn it, I missed. Yeah, there goes the stealth.
Fall to my sword.
We got a 2-4.
I'll strike you down.
Yeah, there's a problem. I am over my encumbrance limit, so let me look at all the stuff that I just grabbed up here.
You're no match for me.
Hold on. Do it again. Do it again. One more time.
You'll fall to my sword.
I haven't parried for a while. You're gonna over encumber me, but now I'm not in the heat of combat. I have a second to address. Definitely farming up the meteorite, because if we do decide to upgrade these daggers, if I decide that this is the build I'm committing to, we're gonna need lots of stuff, so start collecting all on that kind of stuff. Okay, let's take a look what we have weighing us down so bad. We're at 234 out of 205. We could just hit the panic button and equip our Ring of Encumbrance. That'll raise it by 25. Well, we still don't have enough, actually, so... let's address this. What is the cheapest thing I have that is very expensive? Oh, sorry, that's very heavy. That was pretty expensive, and now we can go to this ring. I'm okay with sacrificing a tiny bit of crit chance while we're in the rest of this place. Build's pretty strong, I'm not too worried. Iron and coal. Where's my lockpick? Could not see those. Right. Are you out of your goddamned minds? You knew very well that it was supposed to be a clean job. That was the deal. I could understand needing to rough someone up, but that Camelot guy, you almost killed him. The man can't even recognize his own brother. Why the hell did you do that? This is madness. For now, you ought to lay low. When I get my hands on the one responsible for this, I'll smash his head against my anvil. Oh, and next time, focus more on sabotage and equipment instead of beating people up. The damage you did last time is nothing. They'll fix it in no time. So, that's quest completed. Maybe I should take the evidence to the Camelosian Legate instead. So it looks like we gotta make a decision on if we're gonna turn those people in or not. Let's finish looting this place up first. And I guess I'll make a decision on that on the outside. I don't know enough about the rebels to know if I should be on team or not, to be blunt. Because all I know about them is they rolled up, they beat somebody within an inch of their life while they were at their guard post, and then it doesn't even look like that's what they were meant to do. Their leader is very unhappy about that, but is he unhappy about that because of what happened, or is he unhappy about that because of the pressure it now puts on him? Hard to tell, right? It looks like we can't put down our bonfire in here, which is unfortunate. So let's go look what's expensive and what's heavy. 9.3 or 7.9. Worth 250. I bet some of the weapons are really heavy. You're only worth 100. 100. How much do you weigh? 7.4 to 100. You're only worth 10, but you don't weigh much either. You could definitely drop the rusty longswords. Interesting art design on that. Yeah, and the rest of this we did already clear. I was hoping I'd be able to put a bonfire in here so that I wouldn't have to deal with big mace guy outside. Hopefully a little bit of the time passed so it's not strictly nighttime when we get back. It is still nighttime. First things first. There we go. Take some of the pressure off. And we'll hit a good old level up. So what do we want to do here? I think another point in endurance is in order to be honest, because the encumbrance limit needs to get back up. I lost some points in endurance when I respec, so I would like to get that on its way back up so I can at least loot stuff as I'm going about my business. In terms of a level up, we could increase our damage bonus to the status. 20% damage does sound good. Let's get the bonus status effect. And we'll cook while we're here too to get some of the weight out of our inventories. reckon? Moons, 72, 54. 108 sounds good. Once we get to a vendor, we'll be able to sell a bunch of this stuff anyway, so it won't matter too much. But we are very, very encumbered. Alright, so that's the Camelotians. What did the quest journal say? It said, I can deliver the proof to Cade, head of the workers. Maybe I should take the evidence to the Camelosian legate instead. The rider left traces. I might be able to track them down. Well, since I don't know much about what's going on inside Cuanacht yet, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to head into the city proper. Because maybe an NPC in there will discuss something with me that'll help me make a decision on that. If nothing else, we need to immediately find a blacksmith so I can at least sell up this gear that I got all over myself. And maybe we'll find the bounty board in there too, because I've taken care of 2 bandits, I think. This wasn't the first bandit I ran into. I did drop another one like a bad habit as well. I'm just walking around with 2 heads in my inventory at this point. There's gotta be some hidden goodies in here, right? It's just recipes, I'm sure. In defense of blood magic, Morgaine Le Fay. To address my critics, no, I do not have a basement full of slaves, nor do I bathe in virgin blood. It's true. I take an academic interest in blood magic, used ethically, meaning using the caster's own blood. It's neither immoral nor impractical. A blood ward, for instance, works best when tied directly to the caster, reflecting their magic. Using foreign blood, pointless, as it lacks the caster's essence. Of course, this magic has risks. Overeager mages may push themselves too far, but I am exploring solutions, including potions to amplify potential under strain. Early results are promising. Blood magic, though controversial, is as old as Avalon itself. It deserves study, not fear. That does not dismiss its potential out of ignorance. And life transfusion. We've already looked at that plenty. Thought for sure there has to still be like a sneaky hidden chest somewhere in here. I refuse to believe that there isn't. Coin carrier. Yeah, there's almost always a hidden goodie somewhere in a place like this. If you check thoroughly enough. 3 more to the right, like that. Okay, health potion and a sharpening stone. I would have been very sad about that if I had died right there. Alright. With that taken care of, let's finally head into the city proper, see what we got to deal with in here, get a little taste of the lay of the land. First things first, when I'm in here, is I'm immediately just going to look for vendors, because... Oh, this is the guy for the Morrigan's quest, by the way, but I need to get rid of some of this stuff we have in our inventory. I need a vendor, like, immediately. Oh. Was that sense in King Arthur's soul inside us?
Even say that. Someone comes, lights them in here, and then dies on all watch? People would be at my door with pitchforks.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not dead just yet.
He's waking up. Welcome back to the land of the living, our hero.
Help him up, Ansem.
How exactly did I just lie the men here just by being in its presence with Arthur's soul?
Welcome to my home. Quite a scene unfolded at the Menhir, with you at the heart of it. I can't
sounds
decide
like
if
it.
I'm more delighted or surprised. What was it that made the Menhir react to you?
I wish I knew too.
The local Menhir here have been rather lifeless for quite some time. Then you come along, breathe life into what was dead, and, whether you meant to or not, alter the course of our history. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I have no intention of telling this random guy that I have
Do you
King
know
Arthur's
what
soul.
this Menhir represents?
They're statues to ward off the Wyrdness. Merlin built them.
So they say. The Menhirs were raised by Merlin to ward off the ancient mists that burst monsters beyond human comprehension. But none of this matters in our current situation. Here, the Menhir represents something more. For some, it's a symbol of freedom and independence. Strength, if you will. It shows that the people of Cuanacht, my subjects, can face any challenge, even at the world's end. And for others, like our guest from Camelot, whom I'm sure you've seen, it's a symbol of power. Power once granted by King Arthur, and therefore by Camelot. And power that has been granted can be taken away.
The carrot and the stick. Camelot wants to take your Menhir. Why?
Officially, they say they want to gather all the Menhir scattered across Avalon, set them around Camelot, and bring people there to ensure their safety. That is, if they can figure out how to restore the power of the Menhirs.
And unofficially.
I don't think we know each other well enough to speak on unofficial terms.
That's fair. If Camelot takes the Menhir, your people will be lost.
I'm well aware. And now we're also facing an outbreak of the Red Death, which will no doubt influence Camelot's decision on whether to offer my people shelter. But with the Menhir reignited, the people of Cuanacht will be even less willing to give up and go to Camelot. If anything, I expect rebellion to break out. And bloodshed is something neither we nor the capital want.
What would you prefer to happen?
I don't know, to be honest. It's not something I could admit publicly, but I feel both sides have a point. I understand the people who don't want to abandon their homeland, and I understand the knights, who must face a long-lost terror and find a solution to an impossible problem. Believe me, being a lord in times like these is a heavy burden.
Your gold-plated armor sure does sell that to me, friend. What do you want from me?
I want you to speak with Dinho and try to calm him down. He's the commander of Camelot's forces stationed in Cuanacht, and as you probably imagine, your presence here didn't exactly make his job easier. With the men here active again, everything could change.
I'm just searching for Palamedes' shield.
Palamedes' shield, you say? An unusual request. That shield rests beneath the men here. And legend has it that it used to fuel its power for centuries. I don't mind if you look at it, touch it, whatever you need. Just don't take it. It's a treasured relic, and the people of Cuanacht are quite attached to it. And you're probably just as attached to your head, which you'll lose if we catch you trying to steal the shield.
Well, I assume I don't need to steal it. I didn't need to steal Excalibur.
If you need anything, speak to Ansem. He's the one who decides what's worth my time.
We will indeed take a look at all of that, but we've been going for around 30 minutes now, so this is probably a pretty good spot to wrap this one on up. So thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, please do check out those links in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned, and I'll see you soon with more Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Peace.